Most of the artists, it's been their dream for a long time to come to Cirque du Soleil.
When I finally got the phone call, I was like, what? You guys, seriously?
As soon as an artist is recruited, we get the machine rolling to obtain their Canadian visa and work permit to bring these people in Montreal for their training.
First contract with Cirque du Soleil, you got a lot of stress.
Actually, there's like nothing to worry about. There's someone to pick you up from the airport. The shuttle guy comes, it's like, Cirque du Soleil with your name on it. You're like, oh, that's me. And there's somebody that'll meet you with your packet and all your information. So you would read it and they have it to your language. So whatever you speak first is catered towards that. When you come here, don't feel like you're so like, I don't know where to go. Like they already know who you are and they get right to work.
The very first thing we do when an artist arrives here is they undergo a physical evaluation.
So if they need to go to a doctor's appointment or go have an X-ray or an MRI, we do all this before they begin their training.
And that is to make sure that the job that we're going to ask them to do, that they're going to be safe in doing that so.
After this medical evaluation, we determine if they have any weaknesses or things that they need to have worked on.
We try to use a very diverse background of therapists. So we have therapists that are strong in manual therapy, therapists that are very strong in sports management, therapists that are very strong in strength and conditioning, exercises, acupuncture, because of course we deal with a lot of different cultural background. A very large focus is for us to be able to prevent injuries and to help artists to remain healthy as long as possible, as good as possible. Accidents are accidents and they are unfortunate. It's not a machine, it is a body, so people do end up developing injuries at some point.
They're very understanding and patient people, so they'll work with you. Or they'll help and they'll take care of it. It's very little stress.
But when we have someone, for example, that comes from Toronto that joins the formation, the adaptation is not as big as someone, for example, that comes from China. They come here, they don't speak the language.
Spin around the pole.
When I came here, I couldn't understand anything.
There are interpreters of every language. No one is left alone. We follow them everywhere. We begin with administration, medical, and then we follow them for all the classes. We can even go shopping with them for their first shopping. They have to follow English classes because English is the working language in Cirque du Soleil.
It was good teacher, like school teacher. We had a homework.
By the end of their stay here, if they make efforts and they follow the classes, normally they can manage for themselves once on the show.
The company is very aware that artists have family and that they travel with family.
So here at Cirque du Soleil, we always provide education to minor artists. And in some cases, we offer school services to children of artists. When we have families coming to Montreal, children of artists, we assist the parents to enroll these children to local schools. When the artist is transferred to a show under the big top, then the child is integrated to the touring school.
When somebody comes here, they're not fast-tracked into the show. Majority of the people will take their time in formation to go through what we call general formation, and then specific formation being geared and targeted to a specific assignment in a show.
Well, the majority of our artists are coming from a sports background, gymnastic background. We've worked on different methods of how to open up these acrobats and throw them into the artistic world.
You have to work with like a dance coach, and then you have to work with an acting coach.
We're talking about basic skills. They're not going to be the lead characters in the show. And our challenge, the artistic staff team, is to try to grab their interest and that they will discover a new passion. We create an atmosphere where they feel safe to make a fool of themselves and look stupid, and you know, it's part of the process. our strength is blending the acrobatic and the artistic to create a stronger wow, and that's why the public is so moved.
We want to have tremendous respect to what they come in with. They have a great deal of skills, they have a great deal of knowledge, they have expertise.
Some of them are, national level athletes. Some of them have won, Olympic medals.
A trampolinist who has done a high caliber performance already knows how to do the doubles and triple somersaults with various twists in it. However, what we want to do is we want to put the trampolinist in a different environment. It's not a trampoline any longer, let's say it's a teeter board. So that new piece of equipment will get them up in the air. We have to teach that. Once they're up in the air, they're cats. They know all those skills, and we want to take advantage of that. So of course then, when you introduce those new pieces of equipment, there are certain parameters that are very critical. Safety is obviously the very first one, and after that, capacity to adapt.
If we take a gymnast, for example, who does high bar, in some of our shows we have some high bar acts that are very, very high off the ground. So the environment is different. And not only is it high off the ground, but at some point they have to do tricks and then they have to be caught. So to be able to trust someone who basically has your life in their hands is a completely new dynamic. And in terms of dealing with fear or giving them tricks to focus better in an environment that's completely different, that I can help them and that they need.
A lot of the people that come to us, they come from what we call individual sports. In our case, you will most likely be part of the group act.
They might be 10 people or 15 people working all together, coming from 8 different countries. They all speak their own language.
And a group act will demand a lot from you. It's feeling the partner, it's adjusting to the partner's timing, all of those things. That's a major challenge. It also is a good challenge at the level of ego, because you are sharing the stage.
But once they all come on the same page and they understand what they need to do and they complement each other, it's quite special. It's fun to see.
Every show there's a challenge. To go on stage, to be able physically to do your tricks.
They can do up to 350 to 400 shows in a year.
So you have to learn how to give everything you have on one hand, but on the other hand, you have to pace yourself because the audience that comes in 2 days later deserves just as much of you as you gave a few days ago. That's a big challenge. You can only train so many times. That's tremendous change for an athlete who is used to doing a lot of training and occasional performance. We have to find a way to help them to reverse it.
So at the beginning, I do a lot of education on how to adapt in a new environment. And also just in terms of staying motivated, to stay motivated to perform 350, 400 shows in a year. But when you're doing a performance for an audience and you see the reaction of people's faces and you give that energy and you get it and you receive it back, I mean, then you can perform 800 times in a year. There's no limit for that.